Hello and welcome to a ToooAir educational introduction to the features and customizable options of the ToooAir Dispatcher version 1.1.5. We can access the options from our top menu bar here by left clicking on the options button. The options menu display will now display for us to now customize some of the options and features of the ToooAir Dispatcher. So from this options tab, we can customize our group PDT hotkeys. If we set this hotkey to whatever we like, we recommend setting it to a key that you do not use normally in your day-to-day use. However, it does default to spacebar. So with it being set to spacebar, if I now PDT, you can see that I'm actually PDTing through the dispatcher. I now change it to, say, numlock1. I now press numlock1. I'm now PDTing with numlock1. The all-call hotkey can be customized as well. We can set that again to, say, a numlock key setting. This activates the all-call transmission from the dispatcher. So using this hotkey will now activate the all-call key to broadcast to all of the groups that you are a member of as the dispatcher. So in this case, we are a member of Bondi Office, CBD, North Sector, and City. So if I were to now press numlock 2, you can now see that I am transmitting across to every group with numlock 2. We can set the hotkeys to global hotkey. Enabling this feature will now activate these hotkeys outside of the dispatcher. So if I'm off checking emails or monitoring another system or checking out my tasks that I'm meant to be doing for the day, I can be in another active window and still press my hotkeys to talk through my dispatcher without it being the active window. Keep in mind that once this feature has been toggled on, these hotkeys are no longer usable outside of the dispatcher, so they'll only be set to your dispatcher. So we can set the time zone to our local time zone. Here in Sydney, we're at +10. Adjusting this time zone setting here will adjust the settings displayed throughout the entire dispatcher. So your GPS time, your time on the map display as well. We can adjust the distance unit, so we can either change it between metric or imperial. For AU, metric kilometers. We can also set up the 8 kb voice codec for the dispatcher or system. So with ToooAir radios, the base model radios, which is the 300, 308, 388, are all 4 kb only radios. And they require all of the system to be set to 4 kb voice codecs for cross-voice compatibility. However, the 4G and above radios, which is the 680, 682, 990, 995, ToooAir applications and ToooAir Dispatcher, are all 8 kb voice codec compatible, which gives you a higher voice quality when utilizing 8 kb voice codecs. The map pop-up, once toggled, will bring the map display out of its static mesh. This allows us to drag the map around, resize it, maximize it, minimize it, or put it onto a second monitor. Please note that once this has been done, we can no longer access the map from our map tab back on our dispatcher screen. However, if you do exit the popped out map, we can find it again by clicking the map tab again on our dispatcher. So if we just detick that, we can now access the user list and map tab again through our dispatcher. PDT continues to talk. This allows for single click PDTing from the dispatcher. So if we have this enabled and I now single left click group PDT, This will enable single-click PTTing. So it'll stay open until I left-click again to stop the transmission. Likewise, the same feature is applicable to the All Call button as well. Set PTT to mute, so this feature mutes all of the voice transmissions coming through to the dispatcher. All other alerts and broadcasts, such as the SOS, lone worker, geofence, and Roger beeps, are still audible and able to be heard, just not the voice transmissions. The dispatcher start up automatically feature. So upon computer startup, the dispatcher will also start up as well. Handy for having the dispatcher ready to go when you get to work in the morning. Update software automatically. Enabling this will force the dispatcher to check for any available updates that may be present. Please keep in mind it only does this at the start of the dispatcher's life. So for it to prompt an update request, you'll need to restart the dispatcher by simply just exiting the dispatcher from the exit button up here and then relaunching the dispatcher. Send messages to lone workers. Now we can customize what lone worker message we would like sent to a lone worker once the timer has timed out. So I've got here currently set to PTT now, and what I can do is set the lone worker timer to someone, so Sam here for 1 minute. And after this 1 minute timer, the PTT now message will be sent to that user. This is compatible with both the radios and our applications. For the number of alarms, so with 0 means constant. So what this is the clock that's being set. If the user Sam does not PTT in with that 1 minute or time interval that we can set, the clock will reset and start timing again for another minute. If the user has not PTT'd in for another minute again, the alarm will be triggered again and the message for PTT now will be sent to the user again. However, if we set the number of alarms to say 2, the clock cycles will only happen twice, or the alert cycle will only happen twice. So for this scenario, 1 minute will elapse, an alarm will be triggered, and now the clock is now being reset and will now wait another minute and then we'll trigger it again, and then that will be it. After the 2 cycles of alarms, the dispatcher will no longer cycle in alarms. So I'll just go and cancel the lone worker there. The duration of temporary group calls. So we can customize what timer we want for our group calls or individual calls. So if I set it to 20 seconds and I now create an individual call with a user, this user does not PTT back to the dispatcher within the 20 seconds that I've set, the call will automatically be terminated and the user will be left with a missed call alert prompt and a message letting him know that we've tried to call him. Likewise, this happens for both private call and dynamic group call. So if there was multiple users in that group call, they would have all now just received the alert prompt with the message. And so as you can see now, we've actually been placed back into our original group and the call has been terminated. This can be customized from 20 seconds right through to 120 seconds, or not limited if you'd prefer to not have that feature. There is also an update to the latest version. If you ever feel like you're not up to the latest version, you can click this button and the dispatcher will automatically try and find the latest version out there. Currently 1.1.5 is the most latest and up-to-date version that ToooAir has. However, we should be coming out with some new updates in the coming months. This has been the educational tutorial for the options menu and system settings for the ToooAir dispatcher.